So welcome back. We're back now with my next guest, Corey Lucy, and he is with Knod. Welcome to the show. You got to tell everybody what that is.
Well, we're a unique company that's new to the Phoenix market and really new to the United States. We're going to start up. We got our start in Kenya. We'll be in India as well.
From Kenya to networking Arizona.
That's right. We'll do whatever we can. And really what we're a company that's focused on bridging the education to employment gap. I mean, really it's about how do we develop talent for employers so that students are graduating with jobs.
So how do you do that? That's real. I mean, people are like, wow, that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole thing starts with an employer-infused project-based learning model. It's an online model, but we infuse faculty in as their actual employer service faculty with our students doing real-world projects. It's a team-based environment, and so they're learning. So every project they do for every class they have is a resume builder. The perk of it is we have what we call concurrent employment, and so we work directly with specific employers who are looking to hire our students. And so after 6 months, they hire our students. The student stays with the program while they're working full-time for that company. And what's nice is they finish with a bachelor's degree in business.
Well, before you came on, I was asking you, who is your client? Who's your target audience?
Yeah, it's unique because here's the thing. We would say ultimately that our client is the employer, because what we're trying to do is develop talent for them. But a secondary client is our student, and for the Phoenix market, our primary target is community college graduates, because they're coming in with their general education completed, and we're just focused on sort of that upper division business courses. And so they're a secondary piece because they're the talent we need to develop to get those skills, the hard skills and the soft skills that make them employable.
Okay, now your website is Knod, which is Knod.net.
Correct.
And up there, what kind of information that you have there that they would look at to kind of get an idea of what you're all about?
Sure. So when they go to our website, they want to probably navigate to the Study at Knod page. I mean, that's probably the biggest, the key indicator, because then they can see the programs that we have to offer as far as what classes they would take, that kind of stuff. They can see what employers that we work with, sort of who some of our, sort of our career guidance folks are, for really helping us make sure that the projects that we do are strong and learning centered so that they can get their job.
What kind of projects do you have on there that you offer?
Well, it really will depend on the employer. So, like, for example, if they're taking a marketing class, it's going to be a marketing-based project.
Okay.
Students, like, for example, we had some students in Kenya that actually built the website that's being used by an employer. Because they were working with the employer on what they needed, and these students actually took them through and built a website that was fantastic. And
very different.
Yeah, it's very different because it's hands-on.
Can it be any kind of employer, any type of company?
Yeah, we're business focused, obviously. So, so depending on what that is, sure. And so, because for us, it's like everybody, especially small businesses, like we work with businesses that have 1 or 2 employees, and then we work with some that hire 12,000 in a year.
Sure.
So it's all in between. But everybody, like sometimes that small business owner is a fantastic faculty member because they wear all the hats. And so they can work with students on all these different avenues, and especially for some of our students that are interested in being entrepreneurs themselves, it's a great model.
The website is Knod. It's Knod.net. Okay, so this is quite interesting, and I normally talk about this, but I think it's important. How much does a Knod degree cost?
Well, so it's unique because it's based on obviously the market, because we're not just U.S. based, we are a global company, so being in India and Kenya, those price points are different. But we're looking at, for a student here, if you were to do 4 years with Knod, it would cost you approximately $15,000 total. That includes books, fees, everything, because we don't have books. Pencils, yeah, if you need, we'll give you a pencil. It's online, so you don't need the pencil. So
you should talk about that.
Right, and so the other piece is that, for community college students, obviously that price is going to be lower because they're going to come in with all those general education courses already completed.
And again, they're online?
Yeah, it is online, but it's not your typical online format because it is project team based, and so we like to say that it's synchronous and asynchronous. And what that means is
Explain
sometimes
that, Lucy.
So sometimes what that means is that it's not when you're just reading and writing against what you just read. You're not just reading and taking a test. I mean, you're having to do projects, and so in order to do projects, you have to work with your team members. And so you're going to have to log in and be in a video session with your teammates. You're going to have to be logged in a video session with your faculty, with the employer, and all those kind of things. So there's definitely going to be, it's not your, I have to say, it's sort of not your mom's online program. It's not what people think of of online, because it is really a hands-on effort.
Can they get that more information about that on the website?
Absolutely, all that's there.
Okay, so it's Knod, Knod.net. So if somebody was listening to this, they're going there, or their child might be going into or coming out of community college. You said that's your student that you're looking for. How do they apply?
Well, you can apply right through our online, right through Knod.net.
Are there any qualifications?
There are qualifications because, again, we have university partners, and so part of being admitted to Knod is you have to meet not only our standards, but whatever the standards of that university are. But then we also have a piece of the puzzle where we do an online interview, where students have to do that piece because, again, it's about employability. And so we want to make sure that we get a sense of who the student is and why do they want to study at and with Knod.
Okay, so that's the student side. Now let's talk about the employer side.
You got it.
Okay, how do they get involved?
So they can be involved in all kinds of ways. And so from as simple as we do online career chats, and so that's kind of a low-level entry point. We have some employers that work with us to help us develop projects for students that, because once you start the program, you're not necessarily ready to work directly with an employer. So what we do is we have these employers help us develop some great projects that our Knod faculty implement.
How do they know if they'd have a program that would be great?
So we talk to them about it, and then our faculty kind of walk them through, because again, all of our classes are 10 weeks, and so it can't be a project that you could be done in a week. So it's how do you make that, and we hit learning outcomes and what we want them to take away from that.
So you do consultations?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to do that. Okay, so and they would get all that information there up on the website, but you want to go to it. This is new here, right?
Our whole model, our goal is to disrupt education.
Let's disrupt it, for God's sakes.
We think it needs to be done differently.
It is different.
If you just look at it from the standpoint of, just simply looking at, the high unemployment rate for college graduates, it's double the national unemployment rate. And then we get more and more employers that tell us, 90% of the students think that they're ready to be employed, but only 25% of the employers agree with that. And so there's a massive disconnect in that bridge, and so we're fixing that.
But that's what you're doing, is you're making them ready, because you can't just leave school and say, okay, I'm ready to start in the workforce. There's things. What kinds of things give me an example of a couple of different programs that have helped them get to that point.
For the students?
Yeah.
Well, realistically, it's every class, and so because every class is different, and so they're going to work with unique employers all along the way, and so you figure in order to get the degree with us, it's 20 classes, and so you're going to do 20 unique projects that are team-based with different team members. They're going to help you to be able to walk into an interview and they say, well, what is your experience with this? And you can say, look, I delivered this. I didn't do an internship where they, had me filing papers. This was the deliverable I give. Yeah, that's the amazing part. It's the website development. It could be social media related. It just depends on what the employer need is.
And how long is the course again?
Each class is 10 weeks, and so if you're a full-time student, you do 4 of those at a time.
Do you have financing for them?
Well, we don't do traditional financial aid, and part of the reason for it is we don't want to be part of the $1 trillion student loan debt. And so we keep our prices to a point that we feel like students can afford with a part-time job, and that's really the goal.
And again, that website is Knod, Knod.net. So what? Obviously, for the student, it looks like they've got a great job after their completion. Correct?
Sure. Again, career-minded folks are going to be interested in what we're doing. I mean, the goal is, because where we stand as a company, we're really focused on sort of that entry-level career or that early career piece. And so for students, we're not talking about jobs. We don't want people to get into jobs. We want people to get into careers that are going to move them forward in their lives.
So how do they learn more?
They come to Knod.net and they'll see they can connect with us through Facebook, through YouTube, through LinkedIn, through Twitter, and we're all over the place. You come find us and we'll be there.
How did you get into this? How did you all start this again?
Well, really, our founder, his name is Graham Doxey, and he actually has founded a university in a brick and mortar place, but he has a huge background in business. And so he was just sort of looking at those two models together and said, man, there's got to be a different way for us to serve employers with great talent.
This is new, guys. It's really new, and it sounds really great, both for the student that's coming right out of community college, get them really ready for the workforce, and the employers. So their website again is Knod, Knod.net.